All right. Hello and welcome to the B Team Sports Podcast, episode 10, Zoom edition. We're doing this Saturday before any of the college football games have started. And here with me is Trevor Burns, Case Spears, the TD, making his debut. And then, of course, we
Making
have
our debut.
Yeah, it's a different setup today. The first week was election week. Booth was getting taken over, and then second, last, I guess earlier in the week, I was out of town. So it's a little bit of a, I,
we
I
should
guess a little bit of a change, but it'll
should
work.
be back to normal next week, hopefully. But
It'll work. We're missing Grant, but
yeah,
I mean, that's all
We'll be
right.
good.
When you do things like this and you work around schedules, you're not gonna find everybody.
No.
yeah. Well,
But
we'll start off the episode today with some breaking news from earlier this week. The number one quarterback in the class of 2025, Bryson Underwood, posted on his Instagram that he is, quote, likely to decline Michigan's $10.5 million NIL offer. He did this on like an Instagram story post. It's pretty cool. But
was it the one with him in his LSU jersey?
yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like I wonder if he's getting more of a bigger offer from LSU now. If he's like having them match it, or if he really just likes LSU.
He's a better man than me. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's a better man than probably all of us. Who the hell wouldn't take 10.5
Well, I
million
can
from
guarantee
NIL?
you that LSU definitely has way more money than Michigan on that
Yeah,
side of terms. And so
yeah,
I bet right now what he's trying to do is decline all these offers and then build up his NIL and then take the highest amount of money that someone offers him, which is smart, honestly. I mean, you have all that talent right now. You're that kind of player. Teams are recruiting you, and the game has ultimately developed into something completely different. And
yeah.
so we've seen players like Carson Edwards over at K-State, where they try to money grab from Colorado and then build up as much money as possible um, with the new league in the new season.
Holy
Yeah,
ball knower.
I did see a bunch of people commenting too that he was just using this as a negotiation tactic to get more money out of Michigan.
That's what I would
So
do.
it'll
I
be
mean, either
interesting.
way, whatever he's doing, it's working.
I mean,
Fair
if
enough.
teams are willing to offer you over like $10 million, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
um, other than that, we don't have a whole lot of breaking news this week. College basketball is getting in the swing of things. NBA is starting their in-season tournament. College football, and the NFL are just all kind of in the middle of their season. So that's pretty much the only breaking news we have, unless you guys want to talk about like Harrison Butker getting hurt. But
Hey, some breaking news today is Steve on College Game Day picked KU to cover the spread against BYU. So
There you go.
Absolutely.
The
what's the
only thing I
spread?
want to talk
Minus
about,
three?
oh yeah, he has him +3. Kirk Herbstreit then immediately ruined all hopes by saying historically teams in this situation have dominated the teams. Like BYU should dominate KU today. Is
They
what
won't.
They probably
They,
should.
they
yeah,
won't.
They probably will. Who knows? Um,
I
college,
heard conditions for that game aren't great though, but
yeah,
we'll
the
see.
conditions will be ugly,
yeah.
but it is what it is. Uh, College basketball season's kicked off. We've actually gotten a lot of good games. Notably Alabama Purdue last night and even Arizona Wisconsin. We'll kind of talk about those a little bit. The Crimson Tide lost to Purdue in Purdue. I think it's Mackey Arena. I think Trevor would know more than me in terms of the
Yeah,
Mackey
that's
Arena.
correct.
Yep.
Yep.
um yeah, the Boilermakers got a huge win against Alabama, um, who was AP number two. Obviously, they are led by Mark Sears, just a really talented, do everything guard. Um, but Purdue prevailed. Does this speak more about Purdue, or is this kind of a foreshadowing that, hey, maybe Alabama is not the team that everyone thought they were?
I feel like this says a lot about Purdue as a team and kind of proving the doubters wrong that they are still able to compete in 2024 without Zach Edey. But I also feel like if Alabama played this game at home, then Alabama wins.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree, but I do agree. I think it says more for Purdue than it would Alabama. Everybody drops games. It just happens that this is one of the ones that are earlier in the season. And so I
Mhm.
don't think it's anything to get like down on if you're an Alabama fan. But I mean, I was very low on Purdue coming into the season. So it definitely was a little like, well, they're still all right in my mind, which sucks. But
Yeah, I kind of agree with Trevor here. Without Edie, I kind of had questions on what Purdue is going to look like this year, especially for Braden Smith. I mean, he was ultimately their second best player last year, all pro point guard. We know how good he is, but without having that big man as a presence in the inside and as dominant as Zach Edey was, it kind of left questions. But I think for Alabama, I mean, Mackey Arena is a top five hardest stadium to play in general. So it's tough enough to go in there and win. I think they'll be fine. I think Grant Nelson and Mark Sears are still going to be productive, but that's just a tough stadium to play in. Everyone drops games there, so I don't really think it says much about them.
yeah.
Yeah,
When you're
they have
talking
a nice.
about,
Well, sorry, I was just gonna add that they have a
sorry,
little big three with Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman, Aren, Fletcher Lawyer. They're still a
mhm.
good team without Edie, but it's gonna be different this year for sure.
Yeah. And in case you're talking
Absolutely.
about question marks, I think there are huge question marks coming out of the Big East Conference with how ugly they've looked in their non-conference games. Specifically, Seton Hall and Villanova have both already lost twice. Um, Jack, you're kind of the Big East guy here. Creighton's your team, so I know you're keeping up with this conference very closely. You want to just go into it?
Yeah, the Big East is my favorite conference of basketball. I've always said it's the most pure conference of basketball because it's just basketball. Um, but looking at that, and historically, the teams in the Big East have been really good. Especially since I've kind of been alive, we've had some really good Big East teams. However, the start to this year has been ugly. Villanova's bad at basketball. They're bad. Um, they've lost 3 games now. They lost against Columbia, they lost against St. Joseph's, and they lost last night to Virginia, who lost their head coach like a week and a half before the season started. So to say that Nova's bad is an understatement. They're horrific.
Yeah.
They have one of the best players in college basketball, Aaron Dixon, but outside of that, they don't know an offense. They can't play defense to like save their lives. They just don't trust their coach. And Kyle Neptune would be very lucky if he has a job by Christmas.
Yeah.
And the other terms, Butler lost to a Austin P. Austin P starts a guy with one arm. Like, and he had a dunk.
Yeah.
You let somebody with one arm dunk on you.
Hey, don't disrespect Emmanuel Hansen like that.
He's
That
he's
dude's
nasty.
raw.
He's
He's
nasty.
raw. He's really good.
I don't want to disrespect him. Force him to his left. Like, come on, come on. Um, but he actually does. He's actually a hooper. Um, his dunk was he's so uber athletic, and he can
Yeah.
make free throws too. It's kind of impressive how he is able to do something like that. Because I'm gonna be honest, if I did not have an arm, the last thing I'd probably think of doing would be a sport that kind of requires two.
Yeah.
Um, but it's extremely impressive. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Seton Hall has also looked kind of pretty shitty. Granted, they've lost by 1 point, I think, twice. The first time their first loss against Fordham was actually a buzzer beater. So it was so funny watching that happen. Like they literally lost on a buzzer beater, like first game of the year. Um, but just so many question marks early this year for the Big East. I think it's going to be top heavy again. You're going to have your UConn, Creighton, Marquette. Hopefully Xavier can sneak into the top 25 and then a St. John's. So that's about 5 teams there that are going to be really good and will most likely make the tournament. And then a lot of teams that aren't going to be very good at all, which is actually something you see a lot of in college basketball nowadays with what do you call it when you switch conferences?
Realignment.
Realignment,
Realignment.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how any of you guys been keeping up with that at all.
Um, a
I
little
know.
bit. I think it's a lot more interesting whenever it comes to like teams like the Big 12, where we've seen realignment come in where like solid college basketball programs, even though we know that the focus of sports revolves around football, but ultimately the Big 12 has through conference realignment has recruited a dominant forefront for teams to go and play for them. And so I look at teams such as like Arizona and Houston who are joining an already stacked Big 12 team, and that is just going to ramp up the competition and make it better for them. So I think it's really interesting on how it's all turned out, and I'm curious to see like what teams go to the Big Ten in the SEC.
Yeah.
Mhm. Other than that, college basketball, KU's been off to a start. They're 3-0, but they have not looked the part. In my opinion, I mean, maybe you guys think differently. I don't think KU has looked very impressive in these 3 wins, even though they beat a Michigan State and a UNC, and then had a very easy first win against Howard. But what are your guys' opinions on kind of KU's not lackluster start because they're 3-0, but just not really impressive start?
I would just say with how deep this team is, we're not necessarily dominating teams that as by as much as we should. I feel like after that first half of the UNC game, there should have been no way that UNC came back. Obviously, I'm happy we won, but it should not have been as close of a game as it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then going over to the Champions Classic in Atlanta, and I know you were there, Kenna, but I was just like was not happy with how our offense was looking. Really, the whole first half, we were kind of just reliant on Hunter Dickinson to get any of our buckets, especially early on in that game. And so I don't know. It's just unfortunate that they haven't been as dominant, but it's also nice to see that they haven't peaked yet. There's still so much room to grow with this team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I will say though, for the UNC game, there wasn't really a moment where I was like worried, I would say. Like even though we almost blew a 20-point lead, I mean maybe that's because we were in AFH, but I kind of like I was like there wasn't really a time where I was like, "Oh my God, we might lose this game." Which I think says something about the team as well. We have depth. I think it's just harder for Bill Self to manage depth, if that makes sense, because there's a lot of times where, I mean, I'm not a coach who has the most wins in KU history, so I don't know how much I can talk, but there were times where I was like, man, Hunter's not playing well. You should put in Flory. Or like, I don't think his rotation, I don't think he quite has nailed down his rotation yet. And he'll give a lot of time to starters, obviously, over people off the bench. But there's certain scenarios where I think it just, how can you not put in a player who has during the game played a lot better than the player you got on the floor, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that game against
Absolutely.
UNC too was a great example of just like how impactful home court advantage is in college basketball. Because UNC, the whole second half is coming back, and there's not much to cheer for in the second half as a KU fan. And then we're all just still getting like hype at the 4 minute break and at all the breaks and stuff, just getting like the whole field house ready to go. And so I feel like that alone could have just like kind of helped get the players in gear to help finish out that game.
Yeah.
Really helps when we're making our free throws, which we weren't doing a lot in that game, but we did at the end.
Yeah, and here's kind of what I'll kind of tail off here. Um, Coming from watching Bill Self's basketball teams for KU throughout the years, every time and every point in this season, we all say the same thing. Oh, they don't look as good, or they're not clicking or going or moving their parts together. And so I think an important thing to note is that UNC and Michigan State, they're not bad basketball teams. They're really good. They have two great coaches that know how to develop players and get them into the NBA. And so I think it's important to note that we're only 3 games in. We got to figure out what works what best for our teams. Bill Self is still trying to figure out what lineups he wants to come in at certain times. And so I think that'll play a big part. And I think some time is needed for this KU basketball team.
Yeah, I think Hunter Dickinson actually said it best in his post-game press conference. Um, he said, "You know what? You can't be better than 3-0 right now." He said, "We
That's
played
right.
3 games. You can't be better than 3-0." Obviously, I mean, a win's a win.
Yeah.
Win by 1 point, win by 40. A win's a win. It's still going to be in the column at the same. So I agree. We're 3 games into the year. A big test tonight against Oakland at 5 p.m. I don't think it'll nearly be as crowded as the UNC game was, but it should still be an exciting game. The last thing we'll talk about before we move on to NBA, which I know we're big NBA ball knowers here, is going to be who you guys think your player of the year is. We'll go rapid fire real quick. I'll start off. It's Ryan Colbrenner. He's averaging 30 points per game. Like, get out of here.
Go
Someone
ahead,
else can
Tyler.
go now.
He's done it against bums, but I can't really disagree with it right now. He's definitely the most dominant player in college basketball right now. But one guy, and I don't think he'll be Naismith Player of the Year, but Knuppel out of Duke, kind of the overlooked freshman coming in when you are taking in Cooper Flag, but he's been playing really well early on the season. I think he's been outscoring Cooper Flag in most games, if not all of them. I'm not too sure on that because I couldn't pull up my ESPN stats in time.
You can
But
pull
he's
up your Con Knipple stats.
I did not have them up yet, no. But he's been playing really good so far this season, so I'd like to see him try and make some noise here, but Kalkbrenner's just been very dominant. Kind of threat. There we go.
I mean, I don't hate the Knipple take either. I think he's been doing good, but it's kind of hard to argue with a consistent 30 points after 30 points, whether it's against bums or not. That's still incredibly impressive.
They're
So
still Division I athletes.
I'm with Kevin.
I'm gonna have to kind of go against what I said earlier in my show this week. I said it was gonna be Ryan Kalkbrenner, but for the principle of the show, I'm gonna go with LJ Cryer out of Houston. I think he is absolutely filthy whenever it comes to playing. He knows how to work around the ball, and we know that gosh, I'm blanking on his name, but their point guard left for the draft, and so it'll free him up a little bit alongside Dylan Francis in the inside. And so I really think he could make some noise and be the Naismith Player of the Year.
That's not a crazy take, knowing that Houston is going to be really good again, like they always are. I do like that. I do like that shout. Um, let's move on. We're gonna skip our final fours because we don't have everyone here. Don't wanna throw Grant under the bus right there.
Right.
Let's talk NBA. All right. So the Cavaliers, I'm gonna pull up right here. Let's see. The Cavaliers have yet to lose. They are 14-0. That's insane. First of all, are the Cavs the best team in the East?
Yes. I mean, they're 14-0.
Let's not
End
get
of
too
story.
ahead of
They are the
And-
best team right now. They
Yeah,
are the
right.
Let's not
best
get too
team
ahead of
right
ourselves right now. Once we get Paulo Banchero back, the magic.
now.
I
Give me
think
a
the only
break.
other team that can compete for that title would be the Celtics.
And
Like
they
it's
started off
Celtics
top of-
Cavs right now, and the Cavs just look dominant.
I mean, they just look they're fun to watch in my opinion too. I'm
Oh,
not a
yeah.
big basketball guy, but when I am watching basketball, I watched the Bulls game the other night when they were playing the Cavs, and
Yeah,
I was like, this is awesome. I love watching the Cavs, even though they were whipping my
Mhm.
Bulls, which I didn't really care about. I was just watching. I was like,
144
this is fun.
points
This
is
is good
crazy.
basketball.
yeah.
I gotta give props to the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kenny Atkinson. I think he's done a terrific job. They don't really have the star or the flashiest players, but you get you get guys such as Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell playing for you, and they're gonna be incredible. But a 12-0 start with that team, and whenever you look at the roster on paper, and I'm not calling them trash, but in reality, that just doesn't happen without a good head coach. And so I feel like he deserves to get more flowers for that team because he's kind of developed a really good center in Evan Mobley and helped Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland play well. And so that 12-0 team, I think they'll continue to do well. And I honestly think they'll get the 2 seed in the East behind the Celtics.
Yeah, they're gonna be a really, really tough out, that's for sure. The next thing that we have to talk about NBA wise is Victor Wembanyama. I don't think it's that crazy that a lot of people would have projected him to absolutely skyrocket after his rookie year. And apart from his last, I think, 3 games where he put up 28 points against the Lakers in a loss, 50 points against the Washington Wizards in a win, and 34 points, against the Kings in a win. Victor Wembanyama has not taken the jump many of us thought we would see from him so far this year. We are 13 games into the NBA season, guys. Let's not overreact a whole bunch. But is
Still
this
averaging
is this
double-double.
is this kind of something to worry about that he hasn't taken a huge step forward, or what's going on?
Man, he just dropped a 50-point game. What are you saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm
He,
just
he
messing
dropped a
with
50-point
that.
game and he's still averaging 1 point more than he did from his rookie year.
Yeah, I think that like it's just like KU basketball for me. I think they need a couple more games under their belt and then he'll start to pick it up. It's still super early on in the year, but I think ultimately he will eventually get there.
Well, his
Okay.
coach also just had a mild stroke too.
Yeah,
So he's
that's
not like
a great point.
he doesn't have pop around right now.
But he did have games so far this year where he put up 17, 14, 6, 17, 15, 12. It's like that's not something you would like to see from a 7-3 demigod who can do it all.
Start of the season. He'll pick it up. I mean,
I agree with you guys.
That's
It just gives us
I don't
something to
know.
overreact about.
yeah.
The Philadelphia 76ers have started their season. What I have here is 2-9. Surely they have played since I wrote that. Yes, they're 2-10 now. They lost to the Jazz
They
or
lost
they lost to the
They
Magic.
lost the Magic.
The Celtic or they spent a lot of money, the 76ers did in the offseason, bringing in Paul George. Most notably, they got Jared McCain in the draft. They got Cody Martin, Caleb Martin. They got one of the Martins up there in Philadelphia. And they keep losing. Do they even have a chance to make the playoffs? Is this the team that we trust to make the playoffs? Is Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, are they going to get on the floor at the same time? What do you guys think?
I think there's been a lot of, I'll say like controversy, but a lot of like weirdness to start the year, especially for the 76ers with Embiid saying he's not going to play back-to-back games, the NBA suspending him. Um, and so I think once they kind of get everything steady and start being consistent, they're going to be just fine. I think Jared McCain has been playing better than what I thought he'd be doing to start the season. I thought it would take him a little bit longer to adjust, and he's not rookie of the year by any means right now, but he's definitely playing pretty good. I think he can continue to get an increased role with the 76ers right now. I think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think they'll make a deep run. I don't think they're NBA champions, but
I think they're going to get a lower seed,
yeah.
but I guess that's something that we'll discuss. We'll talk about a little later. It's not really something, I guess, not something to worry about now. I think the 76ers still have all the talent in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think it's got to be the most disappointing thing in the world as a fan to know that you have three of the best players in the NBA and none of them can seem to get on the court at the same time.
Yeah.
And honestly, it kind of just pisses me off to watch him because even though I'm a diehard KU fan and I love KU players in the NBA, I can't stand Embiid. I cannot stand Embiid, and that might be a hot take. He is such a baby. You need to get on the court. Okay. I do like if I'm a fan in Philadelphia, I do not want to pay, $200, $300 for tickets for a 76ers game that I bought in advance and oh, it looks like Embiid has a little boo-boo on his knee and he doesn't want to play. And so I think it sucks for Nick Nurse, who's the coach of the 76ers. He's going to get a lot of blame for it. Everyone's going to get blame and it's just going to turn into a complete nightmare.
I like that take. I remember Kobe Bryant would always say, I play every game I can because there are people that literally worked a week's worth, 2 weeks worth for tickets to my game. I'm not going to sit there and not play.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the same thing. Obviously, if you're injured, take care of it. But everyone's hurt.
But
Play the
also,
damn
if
game.
you're injured, take the time you need to come back and be able to play every game. Don't rush it. Unless it's like crunch time, don't rush it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how there's four of us who are not in the NBA talking about how you need to get on the court. But that's what we do. That's what we're
Yeah.
supposed to do. That's why we're here. In
Yeah.
terms of, we're gonna skip the CBS Power Rankings because I really want Grant's opinions on them.
Yeah.
because I think the Raptors were mighty low, and I want to get Grant's opinion on that. But let's talk about
Scotty
MVP
back?
race. Who do you guys think? Who do you guys think is going to win the MVP so far? We'll go quick. We'll kick a little quick thing around. I think it's going to be Anthony Davis. If he stays on the court, he'll win MVP.
Give me,
Anthony Davis?
That's not crazy. I don't know why
That's
you guys think that's
crazy.
crazy.
That's
How is
that
crazy?
Nikola Jokic is having one of the best seasons of all time, like hands down.
Okay, yeah, that's
Assists are up,
true.
his rebounds are up.
That's true, but Anthony Davis is averaging 31 points, 11 rebounds, and he is like dominating in the West, and the Lakers are good.
Yeah.
But do you think he's going to consistently hold that? No.
Sadly, I don't think he's going to stay on the court because he never does. His nickname
I
is quite
think-
literally Anthony Day-to-Day Davis. But like, if he could stay on the court, I'm just telling you, he's having such a great year.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the hardest part is staying on the court. But I think there's not really even an argument for Jokic. His worst game is 16, 11, and 12 or something like that. Like his worst game is a triple-double.
Yeah.
And so he's
Yeah,
got that team
that's
rolling under new talent. And so I think that's a big reason why.
You
Yeah,
guys
you're
aren't.
right.
You guys clearly are not ready to see Paulo Banchero carry the Magic to the playoffs and become
How do I mute
MVP
him?
doing so.
How do we mute Bueller?
How do I mute him?
Oh my
The
God.
only way Paolo could ever win the MVP is if the Magic get the 1 seed and every other team in the East is like no longer a team.
Don't
Yeah.
let him get hot.
Because I
Don't
just
let 'em
don't think I don't think the Magic will ever get the 1 seed.
Don't
No.
let him get hot.
We'll move on to college football real quick after the break. So make sure you guys come back. We'll have college football NFL talk right after this.
All right, we're back from the break and we're moving on to some CFB. There's nothing better than college football at this time of year, so let's dive right into it. I think the easy place to start is Ole Miss upsets Georgia, and not by a little, by a lot. It felt like it was like a blowout. It wasn't, but it felt like it. I mean, there was never a chance for Georgia to win that game, which is insane in my opinion. Out of Ole Miss of all of teams, would you guys expect it?
You gotta win out.
Gotta win
Gotta
out.
win out.
Didn't expect Ole Miss to do it. What pissed me off about that game though is seeing Carson Beck like laughing on the sideline. Like, I get there's bigger things than football, but
I think we have all come to the conclusion Carson Beck's not very good at his job.
No.
No.
So I think that's why Ole Miss won. But also, I'll tip my hat to Ole Miss. They played good. Gotta win out.
Gotta win out.
I mean, will they? Probably not. But good job. I mean, I didn't get to watch the whole game. I was working, so I was kind of like keeping up with the game on my phone a little bit. But all I saw was Carson Beck didn't have the best game in the world. That's for sure.
When does he ever have the best game in the world, though, in all honesty?
I guess that's right.
Yeah.
My question is, what do you do? What do you do if you're the Georgia head coach? What do you do if you're Kirby Smart?
if you're Kirby Smart, you win out the season, you win all the games you're supposed to, whatever happens, happens, and then you go and you talk to whoever's in charge of that damn NIL collective and tell them to go get you a quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, here's the big thing is like you got an all-pro team. You got a ton of talent, but we know that your quarterback isn't playing well. But he's been doing well enough to just barely win games. And ultimately, I think that's going to bite him in the behind later on in the year. And if Carson Beck keeps on playing bad and they're going up against that SEC competition, they're not going to make it in the playoffs if he keeps playing that poorly. So
I agree with you, Case, but also Brewer was right. It's a world of NIL. Come on, Georgia. You got money. Let's throw some at a damn quarterback. But what I'm kind of confused is, what I'm concerned with is Brewer. This is the competition your quarterback was afraid of?
Whoa.
Like,
whoa.
Raiola was committed to
what's going on
Georgia
with
and was
Raiola
afraid of
there?
Carson Beck?
Whoa.
Get the hell out
He
of
was
here.
committed to Ohio State first. Then he decommitted from Ohio State because they got Aaron Noland.
So he's just afraid of competition.
he committed.
Your
He
quarterback
committed
just wants to avoid comp.
That is not why he's at. That is not why he's at Nebraska. He went to Nebraska because he knew he'd be the day one starter, and that's what he wanted.
No, you're yeah, to avoid competition.
He's playing in the Big Ten. He's playing in the
His
second best
his
conference
fucking
in football.
competition was
He's playing the second best
the
conference in
the old
football.
Kearney Catholic quarterback. Come on. This is not a
They
Nebraska
were not.
stray.
They were not.
All I'm saying is like
I don't think Dylan Raiola has done enough this season and would have done enough on Georgia to beat Carson Beck out for that starting job.
I'm not saying he is, but what I'm saying is like this is again not a Nebraska stray. This is a Georgia stray.
Fair
How
enough.
can you not get a damn quarterback? Like you had a 5-star.
Yeah.
You just hold on to him.
Well, their team
Just lie to his face and tell him that'll start.
I mean,
Like,
to be fair, I don't think anyone expected Carson Beck to go date a Cavender twin mid-season, so I
Maybe
really
he's just thrown
that's a
off. Maybe this
drop-off.
is why he's playing so bad.
Yeah, it is.
He kind of
Anything can happen.
looked good early in the season. I'm not gonna
Have
lie.
you guys seen- have you guys been
Maybe
seeing
maybe he
the
started
SEC
dating the Cavender twin and then everything went south.
Have you guys been seeing the SEC quarterbacks getting their DMs leaked all over Twitter?
Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
yeah. Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen that. I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of that.
Quinn Ewers.
It just means more.
His
in the
was not
SEC.
good.
It just
It-
means more.
It's so funny. The SEC is a different world. I think I would get chewed up and spit out in the SEC.
I think we all would.
But man, that would be fun. Saw that funny guy on Twitter, Jack Scene. Yeah, he wished in a different world he would be we all know that guy. In a different world he'd be at Tennessee right now. But the SEC is a crazy world. It's crazy. The football is great. But don't be too crazy on social media. You're gonna get your stuff leaked.
Yep.
Overall, I mean, I think the consensus is Carson Beck is just not very good.
Yeah, I agree.
And
But
I
still
think
see-
I fear he was looked at as a top 10 pick in the NFL draft before
I'm
about
still seeing
a month
stuff like
ago.
that.
So
I'm still
That-
seeing stuff like that, even if it's from ML football, who no one takes seriously. I still just hate seeing any hype around his name. I just don't like Carson Beck. He's ugly.
that's a crazy stray.
That was a wild stray.
But that's also how we're gonna move on. An ugly game for Miami. They get stunned against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech ruins Miami's undefeated season. Not even the referees could help the Hurricanes out on Saturday. What do you guys think about that? Is Cam Ward's Heisman campaign done?
I think Cam Ward's Heisman campaign ended when Dylan Gabriel, Ashton Genty, and Travis Hunter all played up to expectations. I mean,
Yeah.
Cam Ward's great and all, but he's playing in the ACC. He doesn't have the best weapons in the world. They're good. Miami's got a good team, but they're not Oregon. They're not breaking all the rushing records, and they're not the best two-way player we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Cam Ward, very good quarterback. I still think he's probably him or Dylan Gabriel would be my number one quarterback off the board, and then Shador in that top three for sure. But
Case, you were shaking your head. Do you disagree? Do you think he still has a chance?
I kind of do. My biggest thing is I feel like that Miami game, it was coming for them. I mean, they won off a Hail Mary 2-3 weeks ago. That shouldn't happen. That's just good teams don't lose like that. And so I think Haynes King of Georgia Tech played a terrific game. And I've seen him play at Texas A&M the past couple of years before he transferred, and I thought he looked good. But I think Cam Ward, I don't think it's the end of his Heisman campaign, but I definitely think guys like Tyler said, like Gene T and Travis Hunter and Dylan Gabriel, they're all far above.
we have
above.
Travis Hunter legitimately campaigning for it too. Is the
That
crazy.
is unbelievable.
I think he's the favorite, in my opinion.
In my
I
mind,
I can't
I
stand him,
think he
honestly.
is, but
I don't think he should win it.
in my mind, it doesn't matter. You should be taken out of the race if you're campaigning for it like it's an election. I mean, what are we doing? Focus
we've
on
had
catching
enough
the
election
football,
talk.
brother.
We've had enough election talk.
Yeah, trust me, we've had enough election talk. Tyler's
Yeah.
right.
real
Kansas
quick-
Jayhawks win.
Real quick, before we get into that, I will say the game day guys, Kirk Herbstreit and Cody Rhodes, the guest picker, picked KU. Everyone else picked BYU. So
KU, the Jayhawks actually got a win against Iowa State last weekend. Huge win against Iowa State.
Yep.
They moved to what, 3-6 on the year and are now in Provo taking on BYU, where they're only +3 underdogs
Gotta
in
win
that
out.
game.
Gotta win out.
What's going on? What's going on, guys?
The Natty run.
I think
What's going on is they realize that it is absolutely last minute right now, and we're finally getting our crap together. And our OC, Jeff Grimes, is finally figuring out that if you run the ball, you'll have success because we have the all-time leading rusher. And so I think it's just, I think we're finally starting to figure out what our offensive groove looks like. And I actually think Kansas is going to beat BYU today.
I don't hate that at all. I think
Not a
Jeff
crazy
Grimes woke
take,
up.
especially if it's in the cold.
Yeah, I think Jeff Grimes woke up one day and said, you know what? Maybe I want to work for Kansas today. And ever since then, he's been doing it. And I mean, I don't know what clicked, what worked for him. I have no idea what happened. But I'm not complaining because we looked pretty damn good against Iowa State. And I'll tell you that much.
I will say that was probably the most expected upset I've ever seen between a not ranked team.
I expected us
Yeah,
to win that
that
game
was-
too.
Yeah.
But like you guys were saying, it's just nice to see Jeff Grimes kind of fully stepping into the role of OC. I know the fans and specifically the KU burners were very against him to start the year. Daniels, he's been playing okay all season, but he's definitely done a way better job at minimizing turnovers and just managing the game. But he's also a huge playmaker for us. Like, he's the reason we're winning games. So
Yeah.
it's just nice. It was a very late start. And is it a little too little? Is it too little too late? Probably, with how our path to the Big 12 championship has to be now.
Yeah.
But it's just nice. It's nice to see, at least for next year, that the coaching staff has it under control. And we'll just have to see how they develop the new players.
Yeah, I agree. They are starting to win some games. It is a little too late, but they're getting wins, and that's all that matters. Another team that's getting a lot of wins is the Colorado Buffaloes, led by Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter, coached by Dion. The Buffaloes look to be Big 12 bound. And if the Kansas Jayhawks can not punch their ticket, they're not going anywhere. The Kansas Jayhawks can upset BYU. That would surely put Colorado at the mountaintop. And definitely looking like a Big 12 title is in their grasps. They have Utah today. A Utah team that has been granted another year of Cam Rising. Holy unk. But like, can Colorado do it? Is this actually, because before the year, nobody had Colorado winning the Big 12. In fact, to even say Colorado was going to make a bowl game had a lot of people shaking their heads because they got so much media attention last year, didn't perform. This year, they didn't get as much media attention. Everyone was yelling at Dion for losing 90% of his players, and they're good, actually, now. Dion's a serious coach.
Yeah.
Whether you like his antics or you don't, he wins games.
He could be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys from what I see on Twitter.
Hell no. We do not want that. I'll tell you that.
Sadly case, that's not even crazy.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Brother, I just think you need to change.
Do you guys really think Jerry Jones is going to sit there and he's going to look at all the coaching candidates and pick primetime Deion Sanders? We all know that
Probably.
working environment.
The only thing
would not
that
turn
Jerry
out
Jones
well.
loves more than football is money.
Yep, that I can't argue with that take at all. I cannot argue with that.
If let me tell you, if it's between what's your coach now? I'm looking at his last name, Mike McCarthy. If it's between McCarthy and Dion.
Oh, I hate McCarthy.
I think
I'll take Dion
way,
any day.
We all know which way he's gonna go. Dion wins football games. Plain and simple, he wins football games.
I wouldn't have said that last year, but I can't really argue with it this year.
It's going to be about as bad as Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. That's what I think it would be.
Sure. Do you know what happened? Urban Meyer is now making millions of dollars talking about football because he doesn't want to coach anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was that bad.
Yeah, Urban Meyer is a little different, though. Urban Meyer was tired of NIL.
He was almost the head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I remember when that was actually going, like, circulating around. That would have been so crazy.
That would have been terrible.
But yeah, Colorado keeps on winning. Do you guys think they win today?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
do.
they're the best team in the Big 12. And as much as that pains me to say, being a day one Colorado hater, they are good. They look
Yeah.
nice, and they probably will win the Big 12.
We've seen that Shador's not going to lose them games. It's going to be the O line and D line for Colorado that's going to lose them games.
Yeah.
And it's when they can't protect Shador's when they get into trouble. You saw it with Nebraska. You saw it when they played Baylor. You saw it with K State. I think that they'll be fine. Their offensive line has only gotten better throughout the season, especially since that Nebraska game. It was kind of a wake up call for them. Props to Dion there or whoever is in charge of that Colorado O line because it's night and day. It's extremely impressive to see how they've changed and gotten better.
Yeah.
But I don't think Colorado has the pieces to make a deep run in the college football playoff. I think the only team I could see making a good run in it, winning a game or two, is probably K State or BYU out of the teams at the top, especially with Iowa State collapsing now.
Mhm. I understand that. The one thing I will say about Colorado is they will always have the best players on the field.
Yeah.
They'll always have the number one and the number two best player on the field. And that's sometimes all you need. I know
Yeah.
football is a game with 11v11, but sometimes it's get the ball in the hands of the guys who can make plays and get the
They
hell out of the
also
way.
they also have a case for one of the best offensive tackles in the country. He's a true freshman starting, and he's gotten insane.
Mhm. Yeah,
I think
Colorado is definitely going to be an interesting team to monitor.
I think
He's put
honestly,
back up from the
hot
camera.
take of the day. I think Utah is gonna win. I do. I think Utah
Really?
is going to
That's
beat
not
Colorado.
crazy.
I don't
I
hate
think
it.
their
At
defense is
Colorado, they're
really
having
yes.
Ralphie. They got Ralphie running on the field right now.
Absolutely. It's the same, in my opinion, it's the same concept and it's the same principle as Miami. They go in and they beat a Baylor team off of a Hail Mary that shouldn't have happened, and they're gonna go out and they're gonna lose this next game. And I don't see a world where they don't.
The last week they're actually down 14-0 or 13-0 to Tech, and then blitzed Tech to pieces and won by damn near 3 touchdowns. That's how electric this Colorado offense is. I think that offense continues to be really good. I just think the Utah coach is a little too old, maybe. I think he might be a little too old. Let's move on to some previews. Now, our mom game of the week is number 7, Tennessee at number 12, Georgia. Who do you guys think wins this game? We'll go quick because really the one thing I want to talk about is the thing after this that Brewer's going to kind of rant about. I think Georgia wins this game. I don't know if it's by 10 because I really just don't trust Carson Beck, but they're the better team.
Yeah, or Tennessee's gotten some big wins this season. Georgia's coming off a loss, but
It's at Georgia.
it's hard. It's hard to say Georgia loses at home against any team.
Well, if it's hard to say, I'll be the one to say it. I don't like Georgia at all. I really don't. I think I have no faith in that team really at all. You couldn't pay me to watch a Georgia football game. I don't like them, so I mean, obviously, I think the easy choice here for me is Tennessee.
Yeah, I actually think there's not really even a question. I think Tennessee gets killed here. Nico Iamaliava to me has looked inconsistent. I thought he looked
Can you
really
say that
good.
name again?
Nico Iamaliava.
I just want to see if you can say it right twice.
I could.
That name is crazy hard to pronounce.
Yeah, I just think he's been playing way too inconsistent to be a sophomore 5-star coming out of Modern Day in California. I don't like what that offensive production has been. I love their defense, I'll say that. I think James Pierce coming off the edge has been incredible for them, but
Mhm.
that inconsistency at quarterback, I don't think they could keep up with Georgia.
Yeah.
That's not a crazy take at all.
Sense.
It is crazy talking about inconsistency and then saying that Georgia doesn't have that too, that same problem.
Yeah.
I guess it's more safe to say Carson Beck is consistently terrible.
But I
Very
think
good.
Georgia has the better team around Carson Beck in order to elevate themselves to win that game.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
makes
I
sense.
agree with Case.
Yeah.
However, what I will say is though this is the mom game of the week, this will not be on my television. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care to watch. I don't care to watch Carson Beck anymore.
When you have
I agree.
KU basketball on
valid.
today, KU football on today.
I have Creighton basketball too.
Yeah,
Like
and I know Jack.
I don't have time
Nebraska
to watch
games
Carson
coming
Beck
up
throw
at 3 o'clock.
interceptions today. Well, we can take a look at the schedule if you guys would like. I'll read out a few other games. You guys can just give me some quick
Yeah,
win
I know.
losses.
Real quick. Mizzou, South Carolina should be a fun game. That's a ranked matchup. Both teams. I
Yeah.
would say it's kind of opposite. Like Mizzou's been falling in the rankings. Everyone's kind of losing respect for him. Meanwhile, South Carolina's kind of doing the opposite, kind of rising and gaining respect. So it's
Yeah.
a battle of which way these two team seasons could go. I think South Carolina is the home team here. Yes, they are. I I like South Carolina a lot, but I think Mizzou's going to go in there and get a win, and that really pains me to say because I hate Missouri.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
The games have just kind of kicked off. We will clarify right now. It is 11:09. Games are starting. So we'll kind of try to wrap this up pretty quick. Brew, your team, they go to Southern California to take on USC tonight. Punch their ticket to go bowling. Are they going to do it? What do you think?
There's major questions at quarterback right now because I at least haven't seen if Dylan Raiola is going to get the start. I know he didn't practice earlier in the week, and then I think he's been limited. I haven't seen anything that says he's good to go or anything. Been trying to find that before we started the podcast, but if we don't have Dylan Raiola today, I don't think we have a shot because Henrik Harburg is not a good quarterback. He's a glorified tight end, and I just do not like the guy.
Breaking news. Nebraska head coach Matt Rule held a press conference on Thursday and indicated that quarterback Dylan Raiola will be ready for today's game against the USC Trojans.
Thank God.
However,
All right.
we don't know.
We're going to win this game then because we have our new OC. Satterfield's gone. He's the highest paid tight ends coach in the country now. We got a new OC. We're actually going to run the ball effectively, hopefully. And hopefully our receivers are going to get open today. Nebraska by 100.
How do we mute this man?
I've been trying to figure this out the whole day.
That's a wrong take. Nebraska, what's funny is they had such a promising start to the year, and they will lose every game the remainder of the season and will not go bowling. And it's going to be really, really funny for non-Nebraska fans to watch you in pain.
Yep.
I don't think any non-Nebraska fan likes to see Nebraska lose, except for the ones that are friends with Nebraska fans.
That could be
You guys
right.
take so much joy in this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I just enjoy watching you struggle.
Yeah.
Amen.
I enjoy watching you feel bad about your football team that's realistically should always be top 25 and just bad. However, I do think Dylan Raiola is really good. So you have that. If he stays at Nebraska,
we have that for now. Yeah.
I think if you guys keep Raiola, you guys are going to be in good hands because I think the program is trending in the right direction. You guys have actually flipped a few guys.
Yeah.
We got
pretty
Dawson
wise.
Merritt, 4-star linebacker
From Bama, right?
Alabama.
Yep. And you got another one. Didn't you get like a wide
Right.
receiver or something?
They've worked on a couple flips, and I think they're trying to get Michael Terry, I believe it is. He's a Texas commit right now, or I think he's uncommitted, but he's leaning heavy towards Texas, and it's kind of a two man race there between Nebraska and Texas, and we're just trying to flip him and get him in with Dylan.
Yeah. I think Nebraska's future is pretty bright. I think Rule's doing a lot of good things down there, but I
agree.
can't lie. I do enjoy when you guys lose. It's
Oh,
fun
yeah.
for me. What we will finish up is let's just go over conference predictions. Big Ten's easy. I think it's a two horse race, I guess. However, whatever that
I
analogy
don't know
is.
what the saying is.
I think it's
either.
Oregon. I think that's the easy one. Is just Oregon.
Yeah.
I
without a doubt.
think Ohio State will get them if they play again.
Give me Indiana.
They could.
That's
Um,
that's gonna be.
I don't think
Also,
so. I think Will
My
Howard's
sneaky
is trash.
prediction, Indiana. I've been running it with Trevor all season.
Yep.
The Hoosiers are undefeated, guys.
They
love 'em.
extended Kirk.
I'm not
Cignetti.
buying it,
Yeah, I
y'all.
think.
I'm not buying it.
What
They
would
have
it
a tough
take for
game.
you
They
to
go
buy
to
it?
Ohio State. They go to Ohio State not this week, next week.
Yeah.
If Indiana wins that ball game, get
That's
out
when
of
I'm bought in. That's when I'll be bought in.
I don't
blame
know
you.
if they
That
can.
makes sense.
I don't know if they can. Ohio State's going to have that place rocking for an undefeated Indiana team.
Mhm.
And I think Ohio State's just going to overpower them, manhandle them.
I think they're going to smoke them, in my opinion.
Kirk Cignetti
I
is
don't
going to
know.
have that
It's-
team playing hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to rush the quarterback when they're running RPOs.
I
There's
don't.
so much that
That's a game that could go either way.
do.
That's an easy
I'm
Bobby
excited.
beat.
I want to see what the spread is coming out
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
would not surprise me if it's something crazy like 12 and a half,
I
10 and
bet
a
it's
half.
I
yeah.
bet it's I bet it
Um,
opens up as 8.5 Ohio State or 7.5 Ohio State.
I
But
think Indiana's they've been my team all season. I just think that offense is incredible. That's going to be such a fun game to watch. But I think Oregon wins the Big Ten. The Big 12, who do you guys have? I have Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado.
give me BYU even if they lose today.
Give me BYU as well.
We got the ACC. I have Miami.
Yeah, I think are we all gonna go Miami here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Miami all around.
The SEC is the crazy
looking-
one. Who do you guys have winning the SEC? I have
Texas, easily Texas for
I
me.
have Texas as well.
Yeah.
Texas, but it wouldn't surprise me if something else. Like that conference is maybe the most
So-
wide open it's been in my lifetime.
I was gonna say there's so much that can happen in the SEC right now.
Yeah.
Like there's
What
a
do you have,
chance
Brew?
there's a chance Texas could miss the SEC championship game. I don't think they will
Yeah.
because they have probably the easiest schedule left out of all the other teams. I think Texas will probably get in, probably win it.
All right. There you go. That's all we have. It's all the college football talk we have. Now we can talk about a bit of NFL to wrap this all up. We're gonna go quick over recaps this week. This is BS. Broncos lost to the Chiefs devil magic again.
Devil
What the
magic
hell?
is the
Block
only
on
way
field
you could
goals.
put that. That was
What
it.
the hell?
That
Yeah,
is
I-
terrific coaching. Are you kidding me?
It was.
Have you seen the clips yet of like Broncos field goals from like other weeks and how they just have had the same issues and the Chiefs finally
Yep.
just reloaded that one
Yeah,
game?
no, I'm not lying. I'm not saying like it was bad coaching or anything. It's just that's
Yes.
the most Chiefs way to win a game.
Yeah.
Like
You-
and as a Broncos fan, there was never a time in that game where I was confident that we were going to actually win that game. We
Yeah.
sent out our kicker, and there was still a thought in the back of my head that was like, we could lose this game still,
See,
and we did. We did.
I fully expected it was 39-yard field goal at the end of the game. I was like, all right, it's over. We lost. The undefeated run was nice, but these undefeated teams don't win Super Bowls, so maybe this will be good for us. Maybe it's a wake up call. And then we blocked the kick, so I think we're just gonna win out.
That was insane. I feel like the only thing that could happen now is you guys lose one game this year, and it's to the Broncos in Denver. A legendary Bo Nix
What are you talking
performance.
about? We got a
Um,
gauntlet coming up. We got Carolina soon.
Oh my god.
I want to talk about that field goal because I honestly thought the special teams coaching was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. I saw a rundown where it went over. Tyler, you kind of mentioned this a little bit briefly, but it went over the special teams kicks of the Broncos in the left side on how their O linemen always fall down whenever the ball is snapped. And so what the Chiefs did and their special teams coordinator did was they put Leo Chanel, one of the strongest linebackers in the entire NFL, and he just body rammed over him and was able to block that field goal. So I think that was more of the coaching than it was luck.
Whatever it was, the devil magic, it won't last very long. This can't keep happening.
No.
The Chiefs moved to 9-0. They're looking like one of the best teams in the NFL right now. The Baltimore
always
Ravens
do.
defeated the Bengals after the Bengals I think failed the 2-point conversion. This was a while ago. For me, anyways, this is like over a week ago. So maybe because this was a Thursday night game, so maybe my head's kind of out of the wrong place or
We've already
something.
had another Thursday night game, so yeah.
We literally have. We'll talk about that too. But I think it was a smart play. You play to win the game. We heard that in 3:30 last year.
Shout out Al Wallace.
It's true. I feel like that was the right decision. You're on the road. Go win the game. You missed it, and sometimes you have to
also
live with the
saw-
result.
You also saw backlash last week when the Buccaneers had a chance to go for two and get the lead against Kansas City,
Chiefs.
and
did
then they didn't. They chose to play for overtime, lost on the flip. So I'm assuming Bengals saw that like, hey, we have Jamar Chase, we have T Higgins, we have all these weapons. Let's just go for two, see if we can escape here with the win.
I think they made the right decision. They just missed.
Yeah,
And you know what? Sometimes that's what it is. Jared Goff, 5 interceptions, and the Lions still find a way to beat the Texans. The Lions are the best team in the NFL.
That was one of the worst games I've ever watched. That
The
was
Lions are the best team in the NFL.
it was the worst. Yeah, I mean, you can't even argue with that, and that pisses me off obviously because the NFC North is so stacked, and that means the Bears probably will not make a playoffs. But well, they're not going to make it anyways now. But
Yeah, they
um,
didn't deserve to make one after last week's
no,
games.
absolutely not.
Would you
But
rather lose on a Hail
I
Mary or a
think
blocked field goal?
I think I think
Blocked
that
field goal.
yeah, I think that that was just such a fever dream of a football game. I don't know if anyone else watched that. I know Case did, but that was I don't know what was that. What did I watch was kind of how I
Uh,
left that game. As I was like, what happened?
Sometimes you have to find a way to win games when you're not your best.
I guess
Jared Goff was definitely not at his best.
no, not even
Um, uh,
close.
but it was actually it was an interesting game. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's talk about this Thursday night game. Eagles Commanders. The Eagles win again. I think it's 8 in a row. Maybe I'm tripping right now. That sounds crazy numbers.
This is
It might be 8 in a row. It's 8 or 7 in a row wins for the Eagles. The Eagles are good. No, what do you guys think about that?
I've
Um,
never been so pissed off watching a football game than watching that because I needed it for fantasy and it went the exact opposite way of what I wanted to have happen. Not
Good.
only that, I don't like the Eagles. I don't like to see them win. And I'm a little bit on the Commanders bandwagon this year. I really like Jalen Daniels, so it sucked to see them get humbled and lose.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry, go ahead, Trev.
I'm hitting
GT
every button
Eagles.
in existence right now. Yeah, no, I like the Eagles. I mean, I don't think they're a bad team, but that was just a generational performance from Saquon Barkley. But honestly, I feel like that's expected at this point. He has been nasty these past 2 weeks. Just like
Yeah.
looking at that alone, he's been filthy. Like people sleep on him way more than they should, which is a crazy thing to say for Saquon Barkley. But I mean, I kind of forgot about him. Man, that name's at the front of my head as of late. So I'll give it to Barkley this week. I think that performance was
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
Well, I think it's important to kind of look at, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about the Ravens later, but I think whenever it comes to the Eagles and the Ravens, if you look at it, they both have two quarterbacks who run. And so that frees up that running back room for the Eagles, especially with Saquon, knowing that that threat is there. And so defenses have to try to cover the left and right side of the snap, and it becomes an absolute nightmare
Yeah.
whenever you throw in the pass as well with that. So I think the Eagles have used that accordingly and to the best of their ability so far, and it's turned Saquon into being the best running back in the NFL, in my opinion.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Episode 1 of the B Team Sports Show, 9 episodes ago, we did a little bit of predictions for the NFL season, where we gave our playoff predictions, our NFC, AFC champions, Super Bowl champions, MVP, Rookie of the Years. We'll look at those a different time towards the end of the year. Let's look at what our mid-season AFC, NFC, Super Bowl predictions look like right now. Brewer, you had the Ravens beating the Texans, and then had the 49ers beating the Packers, with the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. How are you feeling mid-season about your predictions?
The Niners specifically, definitely off to not the start I thought they'd be at. I thought they'd just be the same old Niners and be very dominant. But I'm liking my picks right now. I think it can very well happen, especially with how beat up the Chiefs are. I know they're starting to get a little bit healthier now. They're starting to get maybe Pacheco back. They just lost Bucker, but it feels like the Chiefs have just too much going against them to be able to go and three-peat. Um, and but I don't think the Chiefs lose a home game in the playoffs. So I might be off there a little bit, but I do think it could still be a Ravens Niners Super Bowl, and I do think the Niners have what it takes, especially if they get healthy and get going.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll take a look at Grant's here, even though he's not here to defend himself. The Bengals, he has the Bengals making the Super Bowl, beating the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. The Lions beating the 49ers. It's the Bengals-Lions Super Bowl with the Bengals winning it all. Safe to say that that surely has not played out the way he wanted it to play out. I do
Yeah.
like his NFC
I
pick,
don't
though.
Yeah.
think the Bengals are done though. That's the thing.
No, I don't think they are too. I think they can sneak in and they have weapons. But
Yeah.
that pick, especially his AFC pick, is not playing out the way he probably thought it would.
Yeah.
Trevor, you have the Ravens beating the Texans in the AFC and the Niners beating the Lions in the NFC. Rematch of the NFC Championship with the Niners winning the Super Bowl. You want to talk about that a little bit, defend yourself, because I know you and Brewer had the exact same matchups damn near. So
Yeah. I don't necessarily. Okay, wait, hold on. I don't necessarily like. I like my picks personally, and I stand by them. But the only thing that I would probably change would be I don't like the 49ers as much, but I don't think it's insane to not have them in it still. I think they're looking healthier, which isn't healthy, but isn't hurt. And so I can totally see it still happening. But I love my AFC matchup still. I think the Texans are good, and I think the Ravens are good enough. And I don't see the Chiefs having a three-peat. So I mean, I don't think the 49ers are winning the Super Bowl. If I had to change now, I'd probably put the Lions there, but I don't hate them at all.
I really like my picks. I was the only one to have the Chiefs in the. I guess not. I guess Grant had the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, but
Yeah.
I had the Chiefs and the Ravens in there, where I had the Ravens moving on, which I think is very likely and could happen, considering they have one of the best offenses in the NFL with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And then I have the Lions against the Eagles, with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, defeating the Ravens, which I would have said was crazy 4 weeks into the year when they were 2-2, but now they're 10-2.
Yeah.
So I don't hate that at all. Or 8-2 maybe. I don't know what they are, but whatever. They're on a nice little win streak, making my predictions look a little better. So I really like those picks, but I agree with you guys. I don't know if the Chiefs will be able to get it done, even make the AFC Championship. Who knows?
Mhm.
Should we do some quick pick'ems with
Rip 'em.
Case Spears?
Let's do
Oh
it.
yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'll read them off. I have the thing pulled up.
Perfect.
Obviously, Thursday night pick'ems got a little skewed.
Give me the Eagles.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles.
You guys, I think the Commanders are getting the upset here.
You would pick the Commanders.
you 100% would.
Still pick the Commanders.
All right, we'll start Sunday. We'll start at the 12 o'clock games. Packers, Bears, in Soldier Field. Who do you guys have winning this game?
What's the rotation going to be? How are we doing this?
Let's start with you,
I'll read
Trey.
them off, so I'll go last.
Okay,
Let's
bet.
go.
I'll go first. Bears. This is a must-win game. Simple as that. We're not losing this.
Packers must win game. They're not losing that. Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the Bears with Trevor. I think, yeah, I don't think they lose.
Yeah.
They're 4-1 at home.
Mm,
This is going to be a game where Tyler can
Packers
make
are
up some
three-
ground.
Packers are 3-1 on the road.
I like the Bears. I do like the Bears. We'll see. Maybe this is going to be a game where Brewer can make up some ground if we're all wrong. But
Yeah.
I genuinely like the Bears for this game.
Yeah.
Jaguars go to Detroit to take on the Lions. I think we're all going to say Lions.
Easy pick.
Yay.
Yeah.
Easy Lions pick right there. The Vikings travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Vikings are winning that game. Congratulations, Minnesota.
Give me Will Levis. I'm just playing. We're going with
Just
we're going with
sabotage
Vikings.
Grant's picks and just pick everything that's horrible.
We got this might be the toilet bowl game of the week. The Las Vegas Raiders against the Miami Dolphins. This game will not be on my television. I'm going to take the Dolphins, though.
Yeah, give me
And pretty
C2
easily pick
and
the
the
Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Give me those Fins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
This could also be the toilet bowl game. The Los Angeles Rams taking on the New England Patriots in Foxborough. I'm going to have the Rams winning this game. I just think the weapons are kind of starting to come back, and I don't know if they're going to be able, if the Patriots will be able to match up against the weapons on the outside.
This
Yeah,
would be a big win for Drake May, but he's just not going to get it.
he's not getting it. It's going to be the Rams.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Rams.
Oh,
Yay.
yay. Oh, maybe this is the toilet bowl game of the week. There are a lot of bad NFL games this week. The
You're
Cleveland
saying
Browns.
that, and then you got next week's. You got the next game. is
Dude,
Colts
yeah,
Jets.
it's just a buns bowl over here. There's no
And then we have the Cleveland Browns against the New Orleans Saints. I'll take Cleveland.
Yeah,
Give
I'll
me
take
the
Cleveland.
Saints.
Whatever.
Saints.
give me Cleveland. I don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Cleveland as
I hate
well.
that game.
That game, that you can get tickets for less than $20.
Too many people are hurt.
As low as 19.
Yeah, you can't get you. It'll be easy to get tickets to that. Game that we have are the Indianapolis Colts traveling to New Jersey to take on the New York Jets. Wow, yuck. I'm gonna take the Jets. I think just because it's a home game.
I've been riding
Richardson.
on the Colts. I've been riding on the Colts for too long, man. I'm not doing it again. Not making the same mistake. Give me the Jets.
Anthony Richardson is back, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for the Colts.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna go Jets this week, and then hopefully I get proven wrong because I really want Anthony Richardson to be a good quarterback.
Me too.
What do you think, TDKs?
I think I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson comes back and he plays better. He takes some time. He watches Joe Flacco play, develops. And I ultimately think he just gets his act together in general. And I think Aaron Rodgers and that Jets team has looked inconsistent as hell. And they were like so high on themselves at the start of the year, and they have just been awful. And
Yeah.
so I think it's gonna be the Colts.
Well, we actually have a good game finally for 12 o'clock.
Yeah, holy.
We have the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. This is going to be a good game. I'll take the Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens. I mean, you saw my predictions. They're in my AFC Championship. Or no, I don't know where they are, but give me the Ravens. Bottom line.
I think it will be fun to see the Steelers defense against the Ravens offense, but I think the Ravens are just a better team.
Yeah.
So for them.
Well, I hate to be this guy, but I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think Russell Wilson has stepped into that quarterback role after being injured for so long throughout the year, and they finally have that offense rolling with a top 2 defense, in my opinion, in the NFL right now. And so I think with that offense playing well and the containment that defense has had, I don't see them losing. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Could be. Now
Sneaky
we are into the
game.
3 o'clock games. The Atlanta Falcons are traveling to Denver to take on the Denver Broncos. What do you guys think happens this game? I'm going to take the Broncos. I think the heartbreaker against Kansas City. Bo Nix is looking incredible. I think Bo Nix is going to win this game.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be a really good game. But I mean, when you lose like that, I find it hard to not win at home the next week. So I'm going to go Broncos.
I'm not the biggest believer in this Falcons team. They've been great. Their offense is good, but I don't know. There's something about them. So I also
Yeah.
like the Broncos here, especially like you guys said after the heartbreak.
God, I can't believe I'm gonna do this again, but I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
He's done this 3 times in a row now.
I know, but
So-
It
I
doesn't
think-
work well, Case. Trust me, it doesn't work very well.
Oh, no, trust me. I think I got this figured out. But ultimately, Kirk Cousins has looked incredible. He's looked way better than I thought. I thought after that injury, I didn't think he could come back from that. But the biggest key, I think, to this offense has been Darnell Mooney. He has looked like an all-pro receiver this year.
All
He has
nowhere.
been playing well. So
I
I
mean-
think if they get Mooney, some offense, and Kyle Pitts and Drake London free up, I think it'll work out well, and I think they'll beat the Broncos.
Are we really going to overlook the Broncos being like one of the best defenses in the entire NFL?
Well, I mean, when you got an all-pro running back, 2 all-pro receivers, an all-pro tight end, and a good quarterback, I think ultimately that is going to be the demise of the Broncos.
We are not gonna sit here and call Cal Pitts an all-pro tight end. That is,
We are. We are.
Hey.
He's been playing well this year.
Cal Pitts is not even close to an all-pro tight end.
All right, well, that's definitely a sneaky underrated game.
Yeah.
I think it will be. I think it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, I think that'll be an
It
extremely
might
fun
end up being
to
one of the
watch.
better games of the week.
The Seattle
Yeah.
Seahawks are going to go to Santa Clara to take on the Falcons in a game where I think the Falcons are going to win, or not the Falcons, the 49ers. I think the 49ers are going to win that game.
I think when you have CMC back, finally, the piece that they were missing so badly, I like the 49ers here too. I think it's about time the 49ers get someone healthy. So if you're a 49ers fan, you got to be happy.
If the 49ers lose this game with a fully healthy CMC, he's been limited at practice, but I think that's just precautionary. Then you really got to start raising some eyebrows over there at Santa Clara. But give me the Niners.
Yeah, I got the Niners.
I was
There
waiting
you go.
for it, Case.
Seahawks too injured. Too injured.
Kansas City Chiefs are going to go to New York to take on the Buffalo Bills. This could be the best game of the week.
Mom game of the week right here. I'll tell you that much.
And I don't know really where I'm going yet, so I'm going to go last.
This is a toss up for me, but I don't see the Bills losing here. I'm going to be so honest. I think this is the game the Chiefs drop. I think their devil magic was used against the Broncos last week. So I think
They've
this is
used devil magic a lot this season.
Yeah, that's a good point, but eventually it's got to stop at some time, and I think this is the one. I like the Bills here, especially with it being in Orchard Park.
I want to agree with you because everything you're saying is right. The luck's running out. The team's getting beat up. We don't even have our starting kicker anymore. But I go against the Chiefs. Like, I just think every week is the week that the Chiefs are finally going to lose, and they
Yeah.
never do.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just feel like they're going to be locked in, ready to go against Buffalo. Whether it doesn't really matter. If we lose, we lose. At this point, you're just
waiting for it.
trying to
Yeah.
get people healthy.
Well,
But, give me the
unfortunately, unfortunately, I think you're wrong here, Tyler. I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think the Chiefs are due. Finally, I've been waiting, and I think after that Broncos game with the offense just looking a little bit rough around the edges, I don't think they could keep up with Josh Allen and that Bills team. I think James Cook, it's kind of like what I was saying about the Ravens and Philadelphia with Saquon. If you have a running quarterback, then it just opens up the run game for your running back way more. And so I think that is going to be the ultimate the downfall of the Chiefs for this game, and I think they're going to lose.
I can see the
Say that,
visions
though.
now. I can see the visions now. Chiefs are going to be down 2 with a chance to kick a game-winning field goal, and they're going to miss it.
Yeah,
No, they're not. They're going to bring
honestly.
out
But it's
Justin Reed.
blocked.
Justin
Um,
Reed's going to put it through the uprights.
No, he's not. So I have the Bills winning that game. Their luck is bound to run out eventually. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to say Chargers, even though not Chargers, Bengals. Excuse me.
I
Even
was
though the
about to
Chargers
say.
have looked really good this year.
Yeah, they've looked good, but they're no Bengals team. I'm going Bengals here.
Give me the Bengals.
He's going to do it again.
Yeah, he is going to do it again.
Man. You see,
Just get it over with.
Grant, if you're
The-
watching, this is going to be a
if the
great or terrible
Bengals
week.
would have won that game against the Ravens, I would have been riding the Chargers train so hard right now. But that team just wants to win. They need to get a win. And even though the Bengals have the worst defense I think I've ever seen in my life, I just don't see a world where they even lose, especially with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase being that hot. We see that T. Higgins is coming back in and he's playing their other all-pro receiver. So I think the Bengals will come in here and win.
Yeah. The last game of the week, Monday night, the Houston Texans take on the Dallas Cowboys.
Battle for Texas.
It's going to be the Texans.
It's no battle for Texas. They almost lost by 30 last week. They're going to get smoked.
Texans.
Yeah.
Especially they got Nico Collins back.
They're going to get
He will actually play this week, not some BS like last week.
Okay, we'll let you say some BS case before we end the show. So
All right, you guys ready? Hold on a second.
Where's
He's
the Leighton?
he's pulling out a Dak Prescott jersey right now. That's crazy work.
Dak, they don't even got
We're
Dak.
riding with them. Give me the Cowboys in a stunner this week. I think Nico Collins is coming back. He's going to be playing a little iffy. They're going to try to force him the ball. It's going to cause some interceptions. Regardless, give me the Cowboys, even though Cooper Rush sucks.
Grant,
I
you're
have
gonna
to
have some
ride with
work
my
to do
team.
next week, buddy. You're gonna have some work to do next week on the pick 'em.
Oh,
It's not gonna be a good week
buddy,
for you.
you guys.
No
I
way
just
we're
can't wait
adding.
for the
Are we
next
actually
week.
just adding Case's picks to Grant's?
No, I was gonna add.
Is
Casey
that the
Football
punishment?
maybe.
Is that the
Do we
punishment?
just not like count them then this week towards the total count or what?
Well, we'll have him send us a text.
Okay.
We'll
put
count 'em
the
if they're good.
screenshots up. We'll put
He
the
needs to
screenshot.
get the text in by midnight tonight.
Yeah, I love that rule.
By
That's a good
11:59 tonight, or
Grant's
his
real-
will
Grant's
all
real good
be
with due dates.
all of his will just be the losers, and he'll go 0-4 this week. We'll
Yeah,
we'll send him
fair enough.
something little. But that was a great podcast, guys. It was a little
Yeah.
different. Obviously, the team. I'll read the teams on by in case you guys are wondering: Giants, Cardinals, Buccaneers, Panthers. A lot of doo doo right there.
Yeah, not
Um,
good.
Well, we already had so much doo doo this week too.
A lot of doo doo in the 12 o'clocks for sure.
Yeah, bad sleep.
It's a
But that was
time to
a good show.
fun.
Good a
Sleep
good
in.
little preview to the weekend of football. I know the Colorado Buffaloes are playing right now, so I'm excited to go turn that on.
They're up
Me too.
14-3 on Utah currently.
Oh my God, he's Shadur, the goat,
Shadur.
the goat.
Yep.
Um,
Let's see. It's 7-0 Northwestern over Ohio State right now.
We're not.
Into
I
the
would
second-
love if Ohio State loses to Northwestern today. Indiana might lose by 40.
Yeah.
It's really fun seeing Ohio State playing at a high school stadium.
Oh yeah.
That is fun. All righty, guys. That is the show. That's all we have for you. From all of us, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and we will see you guys on Wednesday. Right?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yep.
Assuming it'll be Wednesday, we will see you guys on Wednesday.
Case is smiling like he's not gonna be able to be there.
Nah, I'm not. But it's okay. We had a good time recording today, so
It was a fun little time. You guys will hear from us the next time we post. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
later.